Pokémon Scarlet and Violet are nearly here, so today let's take a look at some of the final information on these games. With every trailer, the series just keeps getting more interesting, so we have a few extra details we can look forward to. We have more details regarding the legendaries, a bit more on the stories, new Pokémon forms, and even more. Also, I won't focus on leaks since Nintendo is going crazy right now. So let's start by looking at these legendaries. Koraidon and Miraidon seem to be the most interesting legends to date. Besides certain cutscenes, we haven't had too many chances to ride our legendaries. And from the looks of the new trailer, it seems like they are even less limited than the ride Pokemon in Legends Arceus. In this trailer, we have gameplay of them on top of one of the buildings in Mesa Goza, showing a bit more of that freedom in these games, telling us that there are less boundaries and the game is okay with you going anywhere, unlike Legends where it didn't always like you going on some surfaces. Now, don't let that be misleading, there are still some sort of boundaries. They have loading screens between buildings and some areas according to people who've played the demos, but it still surpasses Legends, at least to our current knowledge. But to continue with the legendaries, near the end of the trailer we catch a glimpse of the mysterious hole in the center of Paldea. But this time, Koraidon and Miraidon exit from this foggy place, potentially hinting that we must somehow go there to truly get behind these legendary Pokemon. And it also looks quite similar to the Slumbering Weald from Pokémon Sword and Shield, so this place could help us unlock these creatures' complete forms. Now, what about sub-legendaries that the story doesn't mainly revolve around? Well, for these, I don't think we'll have any. With the Titan Pokémon from the Path of Legends, they seem to replace the need for them. Since this story mainly has you hunting down these huge Pokémon, they wouldn't quite fit in. Though I still think there's some room for a third legendary that could potentially appear in the games. Anyway, let's continue with the story of Gen 9. So good news, we have an update confirming some sort of post-game, so to say a fourth story, which I don't think will be as long as the other main stories, but it's great that we'll have something extra on top of everything. For this story, it would make sense for it to be on legendaries, so Koraidon and Miraidon, since they don't really fit into the main three stories. Now it could be another legendary, but I'd say if they were gonna add more legendaries into the game, they'd save them for the DLC, if that were to happen. Alright, so let's start with another look on the gyms. I'd say for these, it's fairly straightforward. Same thing that we're used to for years, maybe the only thing differing being the outdoor puzzles. I'm not too sure how far they can take these, seeing as all gyms in the past have been very restricted or linear spaces. But from what we've seen from all these huge open towns until now, it will be a pretty sizable contrast from before, but it'll be interesting to see what they can do with all of this. Next, in Starfall Street, from a commercial we see a different view of a Team Starbase. You can tell it's different since it's more of a wet area with darker grass compared to the fire-type base where it's a bit warmer. So looking at the map, that's the new base and that's the fire base. Now unfortunately there isn't a ton going on and it looks like the same layout as the other one, basically meaning that the difficulty change between each base will be the Pokemon's levels and less with the bases becoming bigger or harder to navigate. And the last story, the Path of Legends, we have Klawf the Titan powering up after consuming one of the Herba Mysticas. Now when we go back to when people got the chance to play an early demo, when they did the Path of Legends they chased and fought Klawf twice, then before the third time they weren't allowed to go any further. So this third battle would be a lot harder. Klawf consuming this ingredient would sort of Dynamax it, or it's similar to the boost some Pokemon would get in Sun and Moon. This makes sense why in a previous trailer Drifloon was able to KO it a lot quicker since it probably hadn't reached its full stage yet. Now the next part to this is the Scarlet and Violet book, which Arven has for some reason. Maybe he gives it to you as a reward for completing his story. It's about some sort of expedition in an uncharted area of the map. We haven't really seen this yet, and this could lead us back to that fourth story once again, to check out the hole in the center of the region, or it could even be another spot with land, this top corner of the region surrounded by clouds that surprisingly has land as seen on another map. And the book shows off two Pokemon, which is clearly a regional Dawn fan, but this time with two separate variations, a past form and a future form, that are of course version exclusives. Anyway, that's everything for now. Hope you enjoyed a less spoiler-heavy video, with leaks presumably getting harsher as we go on. But with everything, Scarlet and Violet are for sure going to be interesting, and overall, it's great that we're getting a relatively full-fledged Pokemon experience. Thanks for watching.